Do you see yourself as neurodivergent? Many people today identify with being neurodivergent. On today's episode, our guest and I will discuss how creativity can be our superpower. Despite being self taught, Michael has authored 5 books and is a former arts commissioner for Newport Beach, California. Michael's unique upbringing as a neurodiverse individual forced him to develop outside the box thinking skills that help him see hidden contexts and resolve paradoxes. He shares his insights and experience with us, in explaining how he uses his creativity to foster leadership, hospitality, customer service, communication, and culture. One of Michael's strengths is his ability to separate problems and solutions into human system relevancy. He believes that creativity drives all man-made systems and that we should prioritize human, live, living beings and nature to keep rising our potential. In this episode, we dive into Michael's philosophy on creativity and how it can be used to unlock human potential. He shares his discovery of the 3 inherent human superpowers that we should all be aware of: creativity, healthy dialogue, and adaptability. Join us for this inspiring conversation as we explore the limitless power of art, creativity with Michael, and discover how we can use these superpowers to impact the world positively. Don't miss his 30-second podcast, The Smart of Art, the power of art and creativity, where he continues these kind of conversations. Welcome to the Organic Matrix, Michael.
Hi, Samantha. Good to see you. Good. Your doggy is good. That's. I was good. Maybe we postponed, for that, but it's all fine. It's all good. Living beings are number one. This is just system talk. So, yeah, you probably know a little bit about me. I was born in Vienna, Austria. I was a sick child. I went to school when I was 7, so later, and I was it was like hitting the wall. It's like I couldn't regurgitate, copy, and I had to repeat grades, 2 or 3 grades. And then I'm totally self-taught. I have no education. And, but I see context through my neurodiversity. I see context. And it's not like, oh, you're intuitive or whatever. It's like I see context, and then when I tell you, you see it too. So it's just I see a little bit before you, probably. I see something before you're aware of it. And then when I was 30, I found out, because art saved my life, art creation. I found out, oh my God, all my jobs were art related, from selling tapes out of the trunk, DJ, fashion show producer, advertising, media. And I said, oh my God, I'm creative. So I decided that I don't need anybody to tell me I'm an artist. I am an artist. And I think that was a pivotal point just by the awareness. And I say, nobody, the system says I'm not an artist. It can't, because it saved my life. And everybody is an artist. When I dove into this, I wrote 5 books. When I dove into the art scene, I found out, we need to separate art creation from the product. How you created your podcast is more important than if your podcast has likes. Obviously, we want likes, we want views, but it is not the importance. And I don't know if you had that when you get likes. I have this. When I get likes from people that I don't know, it has no meaning. So if you follow me because I know you, it has meaning. But people that don't, and it's funny because I think Google says every 4th one is a human. In Twitter, it is every 11th one is a human. So it's flooded by bots and crawlers. and to make that valuable, this has no meaning, So, and then, I got actually systemically a lot. I was arts commissioner of Newport Beach. I co-produced with Robert Evans, who did The Godfather. He was the Paramount chief. And I did a lot of things that were pretty systemically. You think it's success. It's not success. It's just you did something, like your podcast, 5 books. And then, but I hit the wall till I was 50 because I said, push through, all the system logic, all the system wisdom. Well, you keep going, what you're doing, you keep doing. And I did, but it cost them tremendous energy, it life force, because you think alone what you do systemically, just the systems can be static. You have to fill out everything. You have to double click passwords, all this stuff. It's all a time of your life. And also we are driven through DNA to be inclusive. Now, when the system has separated us in gender, race, sexuality, now it wants us to put us together, but it can't do that systemically. To get back to our nature, we need to learn about nature. We need to be aware that we are a species of nature. We might be having a wonderful ability to create. That's why I say it's the first creation. But an eagle sees better. A dolphin swims better. And our strength in this nature realm is to create. To create for us and to be also self-aware. And when we see that helps a lot. I said, just the fact that we say, is this now system relevant because I'm worried that my job that's a system relevant thing, obviously affects you humanly, but getting the promotion, losing the job, paying your taxes, doing all the right things so, that you have to do. And your child is sick. In your case, your doggy, is sick. The fact that you have to choose, because I know so many mothers and fathers that are feeling guilty because they didn't go to the job because they're sick. The kid is sick. That guilt shouldn't exist. That shows you how much we are system conditioned. We just should call. We need to be responsible and say, listen, my kid has fever. I got to stay with it. And there should be anything. There should be understanding. And not systemic understanding, her kid can be 3 times sick and then she gets punished because it's against stress, because you're thinking, oh my God, what is my kid is the second time stressed. I have only one more left. And then they, obviously they don't say that often officially, but if your kid gets too sick too often, you lose your job or you get a bad, a bad thing. And I think that once you get that, so if they get nothing from this episode, just be aware of what is system relevant and what's human relevant. And we just had a conference an hour ago. There was a very high, very successful system person. And she couldn't connect to neurodiverse people. She could not connect humanly. She has everything was thing. And she also said, I want to learn. And I thought about this, and from my experience with her, I saw she doesn't want to learn. She wants to know how to handle a situation if the situation comes up. Humans have 6 senses. We just connect. You and I adapt to each other. We connect and we handle it. That's why I'm not upset when you tell me my doggy is sick or needs to get a baby. That's a normal thing. Because it has priority. But you see, I'm prioritizing. Should I be pissed at her? And because you were honest, you didn't say, oh, have a meeting coming up or a system excuse. You were honest and there was no problem. I just said, that's absolutely okay. Did I want to have that then? Yeah, but I do something else. We have so much to do anyway. We can do whatever we want to do. So anyway, that's basically me. So go ahead.
I love the points that you brought up. One of the things I have to say is thank you so much for being a pioneer, for being an example that despite being neurodiverse, despite being dyslexic, we could still write books. When I
Yeah.
was I'm dyslexic too, and I grew up with that kind of system, and I didn't thrive in that system for similar reasons. And it just really warms my heart because as a kid, what motivated me to learn how to read was knowing that there's a bunch of people in the world who are successful and dyslexic. And people like you motivated me to be in the position of being a neurodivergent educator. And I have to thank you for being an inspiration for people like us. Another thing that you brought up was the human connection and the systematic thinking. And I think that's a really good topic to talk about. Soon, our population is going to be dominantly neurodivergent. And personally, I think this is how we evolve. There are so many superpowers that comes with even being dyslexic. And that's just one avenue of neurodivergence. Like, for people who don't know what dyslexia is that we process information through our right hemisphere first. Then it goes to the left hemisphere. So how most people would do a creative art and it will go to the right mind, or if some people would do math and it'll hit their left hemisphere, for us, everything's creative first. And that's where things get a little mixed up for us. Can you tell us how your neurodivergence helped you awaken superpowers within, and what superpowers you found within yourself?
Yeah. So that was beautiful because it comes in the right first. It takes us longer to first learn it, but once we're the masters, we are very fast. We are faster than any system person, but it takes us longer to comprehend. So I have a hard time first, logging into passwords or whatever. But once I know what that is and I've set it up, it's all working. What was the question? My neurodiversity?
What superpowers did you find out navigating through your
Okay.
neurodiversity?
I think what we all neurodiverse people find, and by the way, I don't even want to classify ourselves as neurodiverse. We're just different. There's I think I need to say that because there's 8 billion people with different fingerprints, different DNA, different irises, right? So that's just there's much more different because from a diet or from an other, everybody reacts differently. What fits me doesn't fit you. So that's the first thing. So there is no normal because otherwise systems would define, okay, if you want to be in this system, let's say a computer company, Compaq or something, you need to do this in order to be normal in that culture. So basically, people go into a culture of a company and try to adapt to whatever they see. But to be adaptive in China, or be adaptive in England, or be adaptive in India is different, and it could be the same company. So we just, because systems cannot tell you what's normal. So it's just like you guys, they throw some humans in there, and then you figure it out. And what I learned early, because I couldn't fit into system, it was like, I flunked in English, I flunked in French. I speak German. So, but I couldn't even do German because I was twisting letters. And I think first of all, how to find the superpower. And it took me literally, I swear to God, it took me 50 years to find that. And I hope by you and me doing these things, people, people become aware that we're all different, and not that we need systemic equalization. Because the equalization, I think this is all the pre-think of how to find your superpower. The equalization, we are equal by our life. In nature, there's not too many ants or too little elephants, or too many elephants or too little ants, or the giraffes are, they're not rich enough, the zebra are richer or whatever. It's just in nature, you exist, and you're proof that you're worthy being a part. Every virus, every bacteria is because you exist. You wouldn't, because everybody agrees, all the systems do, nature is perfect. It always adjusts whatever we do to it. Like you look at COVID, in a year the water was clean. It always adjusts and balances. And when you go into systems, all the systems are based on financial principles, and meaning one person wins, one person loses. So they create not both win, because even though in my time they said a business is when both people take the burden and take the wins. You don't hear that anymore. A business is to make money.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's always a teeter-totter. It's and that nature is perfect. And because nature is perfect, you are life because you exist thing. And in the system, it's the every system, even religion, nonprofit, education, they're all based on a financial principle. Otherwise, you can't keep them afloat, And that virus, basically, it's like a bad virus, is slowly always getting the whole company. So when a company becomes too big, the human aspect gets too small. That's why huge companies, not a good thing. It's better to do smaller companies. And it brings you always into this balance. The more people have money, the more they're system relevant, uh, but they're not human relevant. But if Elon Musk is system relevant more than you and me, but you know what I mean? Sad to say. I mean, it hurts me to say that because he's just a chess player and I and you don't play chess.
I would love to add something to
Go
that.
ahead. Go ahead.
I love where you're going with this. And what's interesting about Elon is that he's different in the sense that he's like one of us in the future. I know I don't want to like be stuck on labels, but just for
Yeah.
communication, like he's neurodiverse. He has Asperger's. So it's his brain is shaped that makes him systematic because the human complexity is the block for Asperger's. Where for us dyslexic, we're a creative, emotional, passionate being from our neural structure. So I love that you bring up how truly diverse we all
Yeah.
are. Like not fit in one system. And then I would love for you to continue your perspective on how Elon Musk carries his business. I just wanted to throw that out there on how how much of a variety neurodiversity really
Yeah.
is.
So I'm always saying, go closer with the microphone. So I'm always saying, the people in the bell curve, right? The tails of the bell curves are the makers in system as well as in humanity. So the tails that are, because systems, in order to handle, you have to fit in the median to adapt to that. And basically, it's nothing to do that you adapt. You're just more adaptable to that system. And so, a system in whatever politics takes another median than a system in computer science. So, but in both, you have to fit in. If you don't, Elon Musk or anybody else, if you don't do it yourself, like Jeff Bezos, extremely looks like a total median, but then he saw things and he learned and become wise, and he was determined to get that. And it's hard because once these people get famous, it amplifies all success, money. It amplifies your weakness because it affects whatever weakness you have. It gets you successful too. It is amplified there too, but it amplifies your weakness, and that's why you think people burn out, people freak out, people get insane because they're not in time space anymore. They are so worried about the system is such a distraction. So they're losing themselves. So I wanted to come back to where you said, how you find your superpowers. I think you need to. And the first thing is, if you're young now, not like me, understand the playing field, the human playing field. There's monopoly. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, the system, super system navigators might be neurodiverse or not. They are valuable there.
Mhm.
In the human aspect, where it's not about success, in because there's no success in nature. Nature is by existence successful. That's why we can adapt. That's why you and I can talk, and we have never met each other. We have all six senses, and we communicate. So we have the senses, and we can communicate with 8 billion people. without knowing them, without having 3 steps to how to communicate. And one thing is the creation. So there's 3 superpowers I defined. Creation, obviously, we talked about it. Nature, eagle sees better, we can create. Number 2, human dialogue. That is the connection of 2 people or more, and to interact, to have a human conversation, not a systems conversation. And when you separate this, it's very great. So politics is system, dialogue is system conversation. You and I and what comes out of this is self-awareness, wisdom. When you and I talk, but if you're in systems, it's about right, wrong, Democrats, Republicans, gay, straight, all this crap. Because it's the system, and I think we are unconscious of it. I mean, this is not like, oh, there's mad people that do this. No, the system, we created system because the tribe became too small. So we created a system because it's bigger, right? And it is specific more. So there's a social security system, there's this system, and there's a religion, there's another religion. Because it couldn't be contained in a tribe where there's, they say the best quantity is 150, people in a tribe where it can be autark and is mostly adaptable to nature. And it's the most efficient. So you have a lawyer, you have a doctor, you have, in 150 people, and that is the most efficient. And it would be a dream, even though we have countries, to have pods of 150. So every individuality, like neurodiversity, whatever, sexuality, whatever, could be lived in peace there. And so let me go back to the superpower. I have to always remind myself to go back to the superpower. So you need to understand, comprehend the playing field. So I try now, as I gave you what the playing field is, that you contextually understand, okay, this is system relevant, this is human relevant. We play a game. We all agree to play the game called Monopoly, where it's about the money. But being a good or bad Monopoly player doesn't take a thing away from your humanity, from your natural worth. It doesn't take it away. It doesn't say, okay, Elon Musk, because he's good. See, this is the false realization that we have. Because Elon Musk is good, or Jeff Bezos, or the superstar Beyonce, or whatever, is good in the system, that makes them better humans. No, it doesn't. It doesn't make them better humans, because we see the most rotten people can be famous in systems. And see, in humanity, it's harder to be relevant because humans, in the human realm, people find, oh, this guy's sneaky. This guy's, doesn't work it. So like that lady that had the talk, everybody in the group found out she was so system, it was a thing about non-linear thinking, and she was the most linear thinker I've ever seen. And we sensed that but that was in the context of a human conversation. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Would it be like Compaq or another company system? She would be perfect because she just does for 3 steps that. Nobody would have listened either, but she would have been perfect for what the system requires. So how do I see my thing? I see, and this kind of makes me sad because you see it after the fact. You see, hindsight is always 20/20, right? So like that, I saw that with 30, I found that I'm an artist, and I cannot not call myself an artist because it saved my life, and all I did was art. And I still can only do creative jobs. I cannot be an accountant tomorrow. And it's not like, see, the system has lies. That's another playing field.
You know, in our quest for transformation, we often overlook the simplest yet most vital aspect of our well being: hydration. It's not just for athletes or health obsessors, it's about maintaining our best selves every day, whether it's during a hectic work schedule, a meditative walk, or even enjoying some quiet time at home. This is where Liquid IV comes in. It's more than just a hydration solution, it's a blend, balance, and wellness. Their hydration multiplier uses cellular transport technology to hydrate you twice as fast as water alone. Plus, it's packed with essential vitamins and 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drinks, and it doesn't have all that sugar. And let me tell you about the flavors. They're absolutely delicious. My personal favorite, the strawberry lemonade. It's like a burst of joy and a refreshment in every sip. But it's not just about the amazing taste of the hydration benefits. Liquid IV is committed to global wellness. They donated over 39 million servings worldwide to help communities in need. It aligns so well with our ethics here at the Organic Matrix that we believe in nurturing ourselves and extending that care to the world around us. So here's a special offer for all of you wonderful listeners. Head over to liquidiv.com and use the code Organic Matrix to get 20% off your order. Embrace hydration as a part of your journey towards a balanced life. And remember, Organic Matrix for 20% off at liquidiv.com. Now let's dive into the rest of our episode.
System is life. It should be sunny every day. And if it's not, we sell you a Ferrari, a pill, a face job, whatever you want. So by that advertising stuff, it became, we adapted. Humans adapt. We take it on. Oh, it should be sunny. So when you're depressed one day, and ADHD people have depression, and I don't think it comes from their ADHD. It comes from their clashing against the system relevance. They are human relevant, superhuman relevant. Autistic shield, they're superhuman relevant, but they can't be in the systems. And because we are DNA driven to be inclusive, that everybody, I'm not looking at you as a woman from a different country. I'm looking for you as a human first. Of course, I see you a woman. But it's irrelevant. I conduct with you on a human level. And then when I lost my thought, but a train of thought, but when we, the shame, this is what I want to say. So the shame of you cannot fit in the system, I think makes us depressed, makes our disability, quote unquote, which is not a disability, but it makes the disability stronger. It is not an equalization by system. Okay, they're the black people, there's the Chinese people. We have to make them. You started that whole thing, system. It wasn't initially, they were just humans. And then we conquered the fields, right? We first got into a war and say, okay, so we had this tribe, and then a disturbed person that has, doesn't know his strengths. We just sees it and it says, okay, we have to get this tribe too, out of a lack, we have to get this tribe too, and this and this and this. And then he saw, okay, warriors are the best for that. And he says, so what am I going to do? Okay, women are going to cook and do all this stuff. And there you have the system of, where women are looked in systems. They're not looked, that. In privacy, human men adoring women, and they're always they're very weak. That's why they ask you, was I good in bed? Was I because they're not, they're weak. They're sensible. They're more sensible. Women are way better emotionally to handle being alive, physical, as men. Men are flipping. That's their tendency. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just an observation. So we separated women and men. And then we were all white people, or wherever, Asian people, wherever the same pattern happened. And then we conquered other looking people, and that made us better than them, systemically better than them. So we have to verbalize, we have a vernacular for those people. And when you create a word, that's why we get more and more diseases, because we calling it a word, which should just be a communication tool But when I mean, I think we have, I think, over 4,000 diseases. This is, in the old, I know from when I was young, you had a little bump, was it gross? They can take it away or you can leave it. Now it's precancerous. They say so much systemically in there. Having a bump until we can take that out, there's no big deal. Or saying you have precancer is a whole world of conditioning. Yeah. Because system says you can't heal cancer. Now we see more and more that you can heal cancer, not with pharmaceuticals, but we can. Yeah. So we can by nature. And also the, you can't sell something. The system cannot sell something because it's natural. I mean, it tries to do this with water. I think water is a human right. Oxygen and air is a human right. But human rights aren't worth anything. It's just written down. Look at how many countries in this world don't go. And I'm not like, oh, we need to be all systemically good. No, I say we have inherent human rights and we should honor them. And we can't even do that. Look,
Yeah.
what we do. And if there is a human right that counts for 90%, if a person that is outside that the system doesn't want, it forgets the human rights. You get into a special area, you get a special prison. It just doesn't. That's how shows you how weak systems are. Because if they're be threatened by one person or two or a group, small group, I mean, 15 people decided that 11 million Jews are going to be killed. 15 people. And they were all educated, all system navigators. There was no humanitarian in there. There were system navigators, all with degrees, except a woman, I think, didn't have a degree. One woman, all men. And they said, we decide that. And that decision was made, and 11 million people. Look at now. I mean, it's not different. 2 people fight in the war, 200,000 people dead. You think that doesn't affect the fabric? Nature creates what it needs. It doesn't create 15,000 elephants. Yeah. That doesn't affect us. It affects us. And it is for the neurodiversity that see that context, now our time comes because we see the context. We can say, oh, she cannot talk to humans. Isn't that unbelievable? That worm is it's like, a top system navigator has the thing and is incapable to communicate her human experience in systems to other. It's just points and stuff. It's just insane. So this is how you find the superpowers. Is basically you understand the thing, you understand the thing we are, and then out of this. So keep asking me what is unclear, and I
Well, I love what you're touching upon with the systems, and what I'm seeing now with how we're evolving is that people like us don't see with the limits of dualistic thinking, and that's what I'm seeing with these systems: gay, straight, girl, boy,
yeah
sinner, not a sinner,
yeah
black, white, like,
good
and
bad win lose. Yeah, it's just
it's ridiculous, and it's limiting for our our human abilities. And I agree with you. Like, for example, calling something disability makes people have learned helplessness, and that's what I see a lot of
yeah.
the systems that we have today is making human beings have learned helplessness, so they're dependent on the systems that are failing them.
Mhm.
And I agree with you. Like, it's ridiculous that we live in a world where we have tons of toxins in the world. We're lied to about all these diseases. We're forced to take vaccines, or we can't get an education, or we can't get a job. So we're in a position that if we don't cooperate with the body government, then we're dehumanized. We don't have as many abilities, and we're limited with growth when our system should be pushing us to grow. And you have a great point with all of the toxins in the environment today. It is very common for children to be chronically sick. Like the autism spectrum, like by 2024, 2025 is projected to be 50% of the youth. And they found that there's connections with heavy metal poisoning on early childhood development and in umbilical cords from women who are taking toxic products that should be illegal for a pregnant woman to take, that are causing a lot of processing delays for children today. So, of course, it's going to be common for someone to say, I can't go to work today. My kid's chronically sick because of the country we live in. But that woman's going to end up being homeless because she
Yeah.
can't abide to the system that's failing us. I
Yeah.
really much appreciate you bringing up this point. And how do you think that as a collective, we can start taking responsibility and addressing how these dualistic thinking and how we can break other people free from these confined constructs that we're raised with today?
I found wonderful question. I found you cannot fight a system. It's just there's too many humans, and it's an energetic thing. There's too many humans dependent on systems. You can't fight it. So don't fight a system. What is working is awareness. So awareness of what we're doing here. That's why I see it's the second superpower. This, the human thing, because we reconnect. Every time you talk to somebody, you reconnect humanity. You see, oh, she is a puzzle piece of me, and I'm a puzzle piece of her. And in that is a lot of power. Always use not the definition. Don't use woman, man, sexuality, all this stuff. Use human. Always speak in the context of humanity. That is good in the system. I understand that. But for humans, it doesn't make sense. So I'll give you an example. So, because we never talk about what's going on, what is going on. So we create these crops and we put in back potassium and all this stuff because that is depleted from grain and all this stuff. But we don't put in all the things that are pulled out. So, for example, if iodine, I think 2 billion people on the earth are iodine deficient.
Mm-hmm.
If you're iodine deficient, that is right in your brain. That is so they connected a system connected. Iodine deficiency in mothers creates mental issues. So we think about, oh, we need to eat. It's short time. I understand. But we never look. Now it's AI and ChatGPT, everything. Everything's AI. But they don't think about it's a dependent technology. We put everything in digital, our lives, everything, passport, everything. And with one click, there's no power. It's a dependent. And everybody, oh, this is going to save us. This is going to be the greatest. A click of power that some power, and energy is energy. The world, I mean, that's why we have hurricanes and all stuff. There's so much stuff about energy we don't know. And if I turn off the power, all our digital lives, you and I cannot talk. Everything is disrupted. And because we were more and more become addicted to things, for example, 20 years we have dating sites, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it comes out because people talking to each other, that system always promote what works, never what doesn't work. Because it's not, because I can say to me, if you say, Michael, I want to employ you, I say, yes, but I'm not good in, I know my weakness. So I don't want to disturb our thing by saying, I'm going to do a bookkeeping and I do this. I can't do all the human jobs. And whatever I can do, I will tell you. And the system don't tell you that. So you hear about viral videos. That's 1% of viral videos. It's like the same in every system. 1% of 1%, like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. You don't only hear from them. You're constantly bombarded of these people. You never hear, oh, there was this politician. He was 30 years, did his job, helped a thing, and now he left. He wasn't the superstar, but he did. You never hear about the mother that raises 5 kids, and it just did a great job. Never. It's irrelevant because that we are so on impulse, hit that we can only recognize catastrophe, like the saber-toothed tiger is in front of our cave. We cannot compartmentalize anymore. And this is my big thing. This is my thing. Show you the context. See both sides. Not as is better enough. There's another thing humans have. yeah, and finishing the dating. The dating is now people don't know anymore how to approach a person when they are without an app.
It's so
Because
true.
if they announce, watch this, this is going better. If you approach a person, you get me too. See, you can't. Oh, through the app, I can say I'm interested in this, doing this with you. It's like extreme, yeah. So gay, whatever is your cup of tea. But if I go to you and ask you out or whatever, me too. Do you see that where we condition ourselves to use the app, and then we also condition ourselves how to behave as a human systemically, not like a human, systemically like a human. And then we cannot even approach another person just to go out of coffee. Say, hey, we had such a good talk. I want to go out. Samantha, let's do this another time, not a podcast, just talk. Yeah, that would be no problem. But, I'm saying it could be a problem because you say, hey, I had a podcast with them and then the guy hits on me. That's on me too. Yeah. You see how that is. It's like, it can be normal, but in life, not everything is happy. See, it goes to that life should be sunny all the time. It can't. It can't because you always growing. And when you grow, you bump into something. Humans continuously 24/7 are growing and expanding in some direction, wrong or right direction, doesn't matter. And when you expand, you hit the wall and you feel pain. You realize something. You alter your frequency. And by that, you're not going to feel good. But why that is so easy to say. Listen, if you don't feel good, you don't feel good. Yeah, you're neurodiverse. It doesn't matter. You find your special thing. Find it. Instead of saying you're neurodiverse, you need to be treated like a retard. I'm sorry. I mean, this is how we think. No, or you have a different color. Oh, this is just that. Black Lives Matter. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
You can't if systems create human problems, they cannot be fixed systemically.
Oh, like
See,
like uh
yeah.
Albert
So if,
Einstein.
if humans need to get together, like you and I, and heal themselves outside of systemic, because in system we will be always distorted. All blacks are not the same. All whites are not the same. All gay people are not the same. All lesbians are not the same. So stop it. Stop it. Because there is no same, there is no normal, and that is the breakdown. That is the major breakdown on, in our society.
Mhm.
And I say there's 90% of problems. I wrote that yesterday. 90% of problems is one misunderstanding, and the one misunderstanding is our habitat is nature. We start playing. We all agree to play a game, but our habitat is nature. So our habitat needs to be number one. We need to learn from it, from how nature works and how is that in nature. I always ask myself, so how is conflict created in nature? Really quick energy release, a cat or a dog fight really quick, and then they go their separate ways. Indigenous tribes don't conquer other tribes. The other tribes, one moves away. So if the indigenous tribe wants to be at that herding, the other one moves away. And so there's natural tendencies and we need to be really aware of our third superpower, and adaptability, because adaptability makes us blind. We adapt to each other, not seeing things. Like when you have a relationship, right? It's the greatest guy, greatest girl, and then one is going in this direction, one goes in that direction, and you just keep adapting, but till it doesn't work anymore because your essence is violated, or his, or both. So that I think that awareness. So everybody that asked me, "Oh, what's first step?" I said, just listen to this episode, over and over and over. And then have your own thoughts. I'm not saying I have the absolute answer, but I think it's awareness. It's not, there's no solution,
Hmm.
because I trust that when you have the awareness, you don't need steps. You will know. If you have the awareness that a person keeps cheating you or bad mouthing you, and you have the awareness, you change automatically. Something is going to change. Yeah. So
And
go ahead.
I was studying. For a while, I was a therapist for kids on the spectrum. I was a behavioral technician, and then I studied CBT. And when I was doing my training, one thing that learned that really impacted my perspective is that all conflict comes from one member or both wanting to control an outcome from from with somebody else. So, like for example, let's say a scenario is a boyfriend and a girlfriend. The girl wants to be taken out on more dates. The boy just wants to play video games. The girl has a conflict with the boy because she wants to control what he's doing. And that is where a lot of human mistakes happens, where we want to go to a system and instead of doing the hard work of human communication where we can find compromise, like what I noticed with communication today, touching upon the what you mentioned with using apps and us becoming dependent on these systems to have human connection, which it doesn't work,
Hmm.
is that there's a lot of statement versus statement conversations. There's not enough curious people. A lot of people will call you on the phone to tell you what they're doing. They're not calling to ask you what you're doing. And the other thing that I notice is that instead of trying to find common understanding within conversation, there's a lot of adversity with conflicting ideas. So, like, for example, you're speaking to me. My job is to understand what you're saying. And if I don't understand something, it's not polite for me to change the subject. It's polite for me to ask you a question, to understand what you're saying. That should be my inner desire. My inner desire shouldn't be to inspire you. And I see that that is the biggest mistake. And you mentioned it with celebrities, right? Like there's a systematically successful person, but are they humanly successful? Like they're successful for being alive in nature, but are they thriving because of this image? And I agree with you. I was listening to an interview with Cole Sprouse, and he said like being a child growing up with wealth and being conditioned to entertain the public really affected his future because all of the toxic things in our life, like money, greed, sex, different, access to drugs because of wealth, all the wealth and fame did was expose this child to a lot of the world's danger. And then we're on the outside looking at their life, looking at who we call celebrities, saying they should be working in the system this way. Oh my gosh, Joe Rogan said this on his podcast. He shouldn't say that. He has a following. And we all forget that these humans that we put on a pedestal for entertainment are a human being going through human experience. There's nobody in this planet that has never been offensive. So if someone goes on Twitter and they have a billion followers and they decide to be offensive that day, you know what? That's their right. There shouldn't be a mob of people telling them to cancel them. You know what I mean? Because we totally forget that we're human. And because we're so dependent with technology, it's almost as if we assume that other humans are robots too. Like, oh, I put in this input, I'm going to get this output out. And if I don't get this output, this person's broken.
Hmm. No,
That's
it's yeah. You confirm everything. I have nothing to counter to this, because it's we forget that this is what I say. The one misunderstanding: system relevant is not human relevant. And by the way, I give you this is the best. What is fulfillment? Because fulfillment is the human success. When you can be present in a moment and you can enjoy this conversation, for example, and not, be on the computer looking, oh my God, I have to pay my bills, I have to do this, the system issue, because this is the value that you and I talk. So that's why it's fulfilling. And fulfilling is the feeling when people don't know, because a lot of people don't know what fulfilling is. And I said, fulfilling is that when you have a union and you have an orgasm right afterwards. It's not the orgasm, it's not the outcome, it's what happened after, not an hour after, not a half hour. It's saying, basically, the universe is saying any union is a good thing, and it fulfills. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be with that person or whatever, but it's you cannot system analyze. Was this a good intercourse or something? But it's the union and the emotional feedback loop that you are fulfilled this way, where everything is okay. Right after orgasm, everything is okay. You accept it. The world is wonderful, and that is fulfillment, and that's what everybody chases. And the system sells you, because when they say everything should be sunny, if not, we give you a Ferrari. Yeah, a Ferrari gives you a minute thing of fulfillment. Then you always dreamed of a Ferrari, and now you're driving a Ferrari. Yeah, but after a year, the Ferrari, or after 3 months, the Ferrari is like any car. Yeah, you have to push yourself through ego up that the Ferrari is something special, and therefore you are something special. But it isn't. You're special because you are, because you have a life. That's why you're special. Nothing that you can do. I always say that example because it's so good. The beggar on Fifth Avenue and the people on Fifth Avenue. Some people go to him, talk to him, give him money. Some people hate him, make a thing around, go on the other side of the street. But everybody influences each other. So the sad thing is the beggar doesn't know he influences the other humans. He doesn't understand it. And if he would, he wouldn't worry so much not having money. And by not worrying about having money, he would have money. Because it's like, oh, I'm dyslexic. I shouldn't make any money. I never, I was bad in school. I shouldn't. I mean, we can all tell stories from that. Because our fact of not fitting the mold makes us, but nobody fits the mold. 8 billion people don't fit the mold. We are just a little bit extremer. So we're just a little bit extremer, but we can't fit the mold. And you need to remind yourself, as a neurodiverse, I think you need to remind, nobody's normal. We are all different. And why is that? And nature doesn't just make a joke and says, I give everybody different irises. Why didn't make us the same? Mm-hmm. Living beings are something special. And I always say they should do in Harvard and Yale, they should teach having a pet. Because when you can, as a human, you don't need to have another human. I'm not saying that. But when you have another living being, you have to interact with. You learn about your own humanity. You learn how to use your senses. You learn how to read that soul, that little monkey soul, and that's what's totally missing. Because you need to ground. I'm working on an educational system for that, So I said there's team sports and team art and awareness. What you have learned, because what I'm not wanting is learning. Learning is basically a system conditioning. I wanted awareness. There's no steps in awareness. Once you're aware, you change by yourself. Mm-hmm. And you have the uniqueness to change right for you. So if I make you aware or somebody else aware, has 2 different outcomes. You have the same awareness, but you will use it as your puzzle piece of who you are, and that person and that. So that's why I say there's only 3 pillars and a pet. Yeah. So three pillars: team sports for the masculine, feminine, the muses, mass art creation, and then the awareness of what you learned, what awareness you got, not what you learned in that process, and then what you learned with your animal, what you learn of this, and then to lift. And because you have projects in art and your projects, you have goals in both. And I'm not a goal person, but I'm saying you have goals. You want to achieve highest human potential, right? So you can focus on the human potential versus the outcome, versus win or lose, versus just system relevance. You can lose as a sports team and gain so much awareness that you get to a point in a year that you will win all the time because you're aware, that just your team is aware. The same with art,
Mhm. Thank you so much, Michael. If our Matrix members want to follow your journey and learn more from you and draw more inspiration, where can they find you?
MichaelM.com. Michael with two L's. MichaelM.com. There's all my social and everything, and LinkedIn and whatever, and you can just connect.
Thank you so much for bringing your wisdom onto the organic matrix. I love this conversation of like breaking apart of dualistic thinking. I think this is the message that a lot of us need to hear.
Yeah. I think the awareness comes through. I'm just one vessel where it comes through, but the awareness comes through all over. With you having your podcast, me doing whatever I do. That's the beauty. That's the beauty when you see it's in all kind of variation. It comes together.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to see more of the picture.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Organic Matrix with our special guest, Michael. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation from neurodiversity to creativity, awareness, Michael's journey, and I hope you gained some insight and into unlocking your own creative potential. We highly recommend checking out Michael's podcast, The Smart of Art, The Power of Art and Creativity, where he continues these conversations and delves deeper into the limitless power of creativity. In each episode, Michael brings a unique perspective to art and creativity and explores how it can help us reach our full potential as human beings. He shares practical tips and tools for harnessing our creative superpowers and using them to make a positive impact on the world. So, if you want to unleash your creativity and discover new ways to approach problem solving and leadership, check out The Smart of Art, The Power of Art and Creativity wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for tuning in to the Organic Matrix, and we look forward to bringing you more inspiring conversations in the future. Ready for more Matrix mentors and exclusive content to help you improve your life? Stay tuned for next week's episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you found our Matrix mentors inspiring. If you're enjoying the show, here are 2 ways you can help us grow. Reach even more amazing Matrix members. Number 1, share the show with your friends and followers on social media. Word of mouth is one of the most powerful ways to spread the word about our show and help us reach new listeners. Number 2, leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Not only does this help us improve the show and share our audience better, but it also helps us rank higher in search results and reach more people. Every share and review helps us grow and reach more Matrix members looking to level up their personal and professional growth. We appreciate your support, and we're looking forward to serve our amazing community of Matrix members. Thank you.